How's it going, YouTube? Today we're going to be doing a in-depth review of the new ranked patch notes that were set out by the devs today. I've seen a lot of people kind of touch and go on some of the stuff that we all love to see. However, I'd like to take the time and actually just go through it, really see if there's any verbiage in there that could hint into things that we could see coming up here in the future. If you like the video, like it, subscribe. I'd love to have you around. If you dislike it, thanks for stopping by, and that's alright. So let's jump right into it. The first thing I noticed when I was kind of pre-reading here is that they are going to be doing a live on July 1st of 2023. That's 9:30 Pacific. That should be 11:30 for Central and 12:30 for Eastern. They have the TLDR here, which is just a rundown saying they're going to make rank changes, they're going to touch up on bugs, and they're going to keep refining. So, what's happening in Arsenal? As we all previously already know, the rank system is a little bit of a mess right now. I think personally, overall, it's in a solid state of improval, if that makes sense, which it really doesn't. However, what I'm getting at with that is it's really good because it's focusing on the sense that it's all about survival. Battle Royale equals survival equals teamwork. All right, you shouldn't necessarily be able to just go in there, drop 20, 30, 15, however many kills you drop, die at position 11 and think that you should get 100 RP. Because then you're just going to do that every game. That's almost like the far right scale, whereas now we're kind of sitting too close to the far left scale. And that far left scale is people are just ratting until the end. We've seen everybody do it. Pros have done it. You probably see it in your lobbies all the time. On top of that horrible trident glitch, if you do that glitch, have mercy on your account, whatever. But they're going to start making some changes here, and let's kind of see what they're getting into. So, bonuses. When a player ranking vastly exceeds matchmaking MMR equivalent, the bonus system withholds the bonus. This limit is intended and used to dial in the correct rank over time. Thanks to the aforementioned generous LP, some player rankings were inflated compared to their MMR, causing them to hit a no bonus state much sooner, in extreme cases where the rank was 1 to 2 tiers higher than the MMR, which caused the bonus withholding system to completely overshadow all bonuses. With future adjustments, the state will return being hard to reach. For the average player not seeing bonuses, they need to raise their MMR by actively defeating multiple squads per match, placing high in order to start getting bonuses again. But we know it feels bad to perform well and not see any bonuses. Seizing 18's focus, adding a minimum elimination bonus increased based on a player's MMR that will be exempt from the bonus withholding and bumping up the elimination bonus slightly. So, what I'm taking away from that is that obviously we could see, right, they implemented MMR over skill-based matchmaking. And what the MMR was supposed to do, right, was to analyze your skill into how you perform in lobbies, in fights, versus your survivability, right? And most people are booming in the survivability rate. They're climbing because they're getting loads of LP, but they're not performing. However, the survivability factor having its bonuses overshadowed the skill factor. Therefore, it wasn't giving you the proper lobbies, right? So when everybody's like, there's a pred in my lobby, like, how is this making any sense? It's just as you start to climb, your MMR rating probably is a lot higher than you think. Your stats are probably pretty good, so it's pairing you with those people, but your rank was still kind of low, because while it is going based off your ranking, it is going based off your MMR, and once it can't find somebody based off your MMR, it just kind of starts to blend them with the rest of the people that are improving in the survivability factor. That's alright. Okay, jumping into rank distribution. As we're all aware, Season 17 is having a high percent on the higher scale. Previously, you could see it in other games like Overwatch. Call of Duty might have a well-established one by now. But ideally, there's intended to be a graph. And the graph is kind of meant to look like a smooth triangle, right? It's meant to have a good percent of folk here, a good percent of folk here, but a bulk of the people here, right? Because obviously, you don't want to be stuck in the lower ranks. The higher ranks are reserved to those people who are genuinely putting the skill and the time in. And the middle is, like your average Joe Schmo players, dads, people who are just kind of playing a couple hours a day. However, not to say that a lot of those folks can't climb. I mean, You get where you get based on how much time you're able to put in. Some people perform better than others. That's just kind of how it goes down. However, for Season 17, we can see that there's just a bulk of folks that are rolling in that Diamond Masters zone, and then just people in the Bronze Silver zone who are probably just opting to not play ranked. However, a bulk of the people are kind of in the middle. That's alright. Alright, so let's get right into it. You may have seen the graph, like this one below. The inflation of master players. Where? Alright, next step. LP gains per match will be decreased to address the shift in the ranking distribution, adding a rule set that only applies to Diamond Plus to address large concentrations of players creeping above. Players in these ranked tier lists will have increased stakes in LP losses and decreased rating bonuses and loss mitigation. I don't know if this is hinting at some sort of like LP, RP, like I'm aware of the one that you get if you load up without a third teammate. That one kind of makes sense. So I kind of get that. They make sure you don't lose any RP for that, but I wonder if they're going to try to implement that as well in some sort of the lower levels. That could be kind of concerning. LP losses and decreased rating bonuses. Players in these will have... Okay, so it looks like there should be some sort of LP shift for Diamond Plus. I'm assuming it's rather going to be higher. Yeah, it looks like it ideally would be higher. And then depending on your loss, you might not get those mitigations for having maybe even a lack of a player. That one's kind of touch and go. Alright, endgame. With the Arsenal updates, we're seeing more climatic endgames with multiple squads. Players valuing their lives and wanting to win instead of deathmatch simulators. Which makes sense. It should never be that. Like, if your sole purpose is to join ranked, hit the ground, fight as many people as you can, die, and then hope you go positive... You should probably still be floating around the gold plat level. I'd say that's probably where you deserve to be. Any higher than that, you're just not opting to make it endgame, which means you're not capable of being willing to survive that long, which means you're probably better off in pubs. An intense firefight for the top placement is exciting and hectic. Endgame is the most memorable way to close a game, and we're happy to have this happen more frequently. And I agree. I think people... don't really take away that Season 17 has brought so many endgame fights close to like tournaments, AGLS matches, and that's where it all is. Everybody likes to get down there to the final circle and duke it out. I would say with maybe just 2 other squads. When it's 3-4 squads, that's fine. If there's like 8 or 9, it gets a little questionable. But overall, it looks like survivability obviously is chilling at an all-time, kind of high for them. Maybe not an all-time, but it's chilling pretty high. And they are seeing good endgame matches, which is fine. Like I said, overall, people are waiting to survive, but they're also taking the fights. I know a lot of my lobbies actually consider of a good 50-50. I don't think I've ran into too many fraggers, I guess. People just kind of aping and doing their thing. And I haven't ran into too many ratters. People are just hiding it out. I have a couple games that I know I have recorded of a rat or two. But overall, my games are probably about as typical to any other season. It's just everybody's gaining RP. LP, and that's still kind of iffy because if you have 1 kill and you made it to position 5, you probably don't deserve plus 100, maybe plus 10. Like, good on you. You killed somebody, but you're not really putting out enough to sit at those who are putting in loads of levels, high streamers, pros, like high level gameplay. Alright, perceptive play. Perceptive play is more macro focused, where play is centered around ring positioning rather than all-out aggression. An extreme variant of this is often referred to as ratting. While exciting endgames are happening, there's room for improvement with recent increases of ratting, a portion of this due to increased numbers of players waiting for ring closure, but we could safely say that is most likely, or it is most due to players hiding and avoiding others while crouching or standing. And when I pre-read this, I thought this was kind of funny, because it's showing that it looks like more players are just standing still than they are crouching. And I could see why that kind of reflects more ratting, right? Because obviously you're hiding in a spot more often than not. Yeah, you are crouched in a ratting spot, but you are just kind of chilling in a spot. Whereas, like, your time crouch could be like you're in a fight and just the position you have, like you have to be crouched there. So that is kind of interesting that went down. However, it is what it is. We notice a particular pattern in both ranked and AGLS levels. Teams stay outside of the ring and delay interacting with each other to gain points. Hiding and avoiding firefights isn't a rewarding way to play Apex. Season 18 has some updates to target this, and more coming in the future. So their focus is to adjust ring timing to increase mid-game encounters. Ring damage tuning to enforce players to play inside the ring, and fixed a number of ratting spots. So I'm sure we've all know quite a few unique ratting spots across Stormpoint to poke out a good one. And, you know, I'm glad they fixed that. Those definitely should be fixed. However, where it gets a little iffy is right here. You know, the ring is already such an intricate piece of work. You know, it continuously gets adjustments from being, and it normally almost scales it from being too weak to too strong. You know, you rather can't play it in at all, or you could survive in it too long. And of course, that's a never-ending battle, I'm sure. But increasing ring time, or adjusting ring timings to increase mid-game encounters. So I would love to see how that works mid-game. I'm assuming maybe just closing it faster. I think regardless of how it is, you'll always be able to walk in with the ring, as most people do anyway. I don't think it's ever been about the ring moving too fast, as normally, you know, people just get close enough to the circle to where they can walk in. At about mid-game, around ring 3, ring 2, ring damage, I mean, I guess is always a good way to keep people out. You know, most people give it a week or two and they've learned all the timings of your health to know when you could pop a med kit. That might happen the same way unless, you know, they just give you ring 3 damage all the time, which would not be ideal. However, that's going to be a little bit of a touchy one, but I'm always curious to see, because I do notice a lot of people that I play with in pubs and in ranked are very comfortable with being in the ring, as you should be, but there comes a point where you're too comfortable to where you're almost kind of relying on being in it a little bit to ensure you can get a safer spot, where if you pre-rotate like you should be, that's not a problem. Matchmaking. So generous LP effects on matchmaking. Alright. While we generally matchmake based on MMR, we start using ranking LP in place of a player's MMR when their rank exceeds their MMR equivalent, i.e. your stats and your common plays throughout pubs and ranked reflect your gold player, but you have survived long enough to gain enough LP to become Masters player, as they stated here in the example, gold MMR, ranking of a diamond, they will be matched with a diamond, and yet all they have to do is to be able to survive. Obviously that needs to get adjusted. This is to ensure MMR and LP rankings are connected and can both help guide players to their accurate rank, which is kind of the end game. You know, we all want to be able to chase those, you know, higher ranks. So I keep wanting to say high elo. I dabbled in Valorant for like 2 months and just, it's in my brain. So excuse me if I say high elo, diamond and above, low elo, plat and below. But you know, if players succeed in these more difficult matchmaking situations, we allow them to continue climbing. Unfortunately, due to too many players in a game having inflated LP because of the generous tuning, this effectively creates a game full of players with lower MMR and their current rank nullifying the effect of the mechanic. Exactly. And we're all fully aware of that. It's living long enough that you are gaining so much LP a game that it can't put you in a proper MMR lobby, i.e. increasing your queue times, because it is so just not taking into account your MMR because you're just gaining so much LP that it can't balance you like that. Which is why sometimes you hit just a boatload of preds and sometimes you don't, or it definitely needs adjusting. So, Season 18 focus, updating matchmaking to better handle players that are actively challenging their MMR to ensure a competitively challenging match that mirrors their current ranking. So, I can see what they're saying there, and honestly, that makes a lot of sense to me. It's, you know, if it's taking note, assuming that their algorithm is actively taking note of you being an active player in the lobby. Because in the previous one with the crouching, the standing, it looks like they can take note of how often you're standing still and how often you're moving. So with that being said, you ideally should be able to take into account the overall of that and readjust MMR, which is what they kind of need to focus on. I don't know how they'll opt to do that. However, it would be cool to see, you know, lobbies get a little equaled out to where you are fighting some people that could probably roll you, but you're benefiting from taking that on because you're not ratting. Like if you lose to a master, right, and you've already gained some LP, but you've already racked up 3-4 kills, you should still go positive pretty well. You lost to a master, they have higher MMR, it takes note of that MMR and their LP, and it takes note of your MMR and your LP and your kills for that one, and still gives you some sort of positive because other people aren't doing that. They're just opting to run and hide, therefore they get less OP. You tried to engage them, but you died, but you still get rewarded for making the attempt after previously getting kills. Makes sense. A little bit of a tangent. Get a little confusing, but I get it. So match quality. The new matchmaking algorithm is producing a more competitive matches overall, and matchmaking gameplay metrics are up across the board. As an example, here's our example. We used to have this understanding of match intensity. When a match is unfair, many squads are decimated by an outlier squad, thus denying many players the opportunity to deal damage. In contrast, a more fair match will have squads fighting, taking cover, recovering, resulting in more damage overall. Right, and to kind of put my perspective on that is we've all been in a lobby where it could be round 3 and there's 11 squads left. And then there's that one pubs match on World's Edge where it's not even close of ring 1 and there's 6 squads left. It's just like clearly there are 1 or 2 people in the lobby, which might even be yourself, because even I've had games where it's like 10, 11 kills. You know, we just got to ring 2 and there's, 4 or 6 other squads left, but I have a good amount of kills. But that automatically indicates to me that there's somebody in this lobby doing it just as well as I am, if not better, and I will run into them after I've running into a bunch of people that I easily rolled. And I agree, I kind of like being in the middle. I enjoy, getting high amounts of damage, 6, 7 kills. Obviously 20 bombs and 4Ks are cool, but if you're just fighting people who have no game sense at that point, you just know you're winning those fights. And while that's mildly entertaining, you kind of are like I got it. Because I was able to roll a quarter of the lobby based on how many matches I've lost previously, and maybe they readjusted my MMR based off that. So it would be cool to kind of see it in the middle. That way, those 4Ks, those, 2.5Ks, 3Ks, 20 bombs, or even when you drop 10 kills, feel a lot more eventful. Queue times. PC players, I just recently moved over. I don't know what's up with this stuff, guys. I don't think they'll ever get this right. This stuff is crazy. I'm currently about Plat 1, so probably here, and queue times are a little wild. They definitely were pretty smooth when I started re-going through ranked on PC. I know for sure I'm probably about a Plat player. Obviously, I'm Plat 1 now. It's a lot easier to move through. But the queue times in Plat are just crazy, so I can only imagine what they're like at higher. Alright, queue times. We believe queue times are too short. Okay. Contributing to a higher chance you're matched outside of your MMR, the graph below shows the average wait time. Everybody's got a crazy wait time. No surprise. During the matchmaking, the system is trying to find a player of similar MMR. The longer it searches, the closer the match. Okay. The intent is to find similarly skilled players from maximum excitement and challenges. But it's a race against the clock. Waiting forever isn't fun, obviously. Matchmaking is failing at an extreme end of very high skill. These players are getting into matches too quickly, creating unfair matches with a too wide MMR range, mercilessly eliminating the lobby, and we're working on improving that. So, what are they going to try to do? The cause of this bug has been identified, and we're actively working on a fix. So they're trying to say it's a bug for more consistent high-end experiences. The rest of the population is very stable. Okay, and like I said, I could see that. And, readjusting, if you take a look at this from like a gold, low elo, and maybe Plat's like high elo, I could see the matchmaking times are pretty low, but mine are still relatively long. But because theirs is taking so long, the Masters, the high diamonds, the Preds, they're kind of just getting paired up with a little bit of everybody for the sake of not making them wait. But that's allowing them to just essentially just play a lot better. The matches aren't challenging for them, and that's understandable. All right, and that's the reflection by skill. Overall, they said they're doing pretty good. All right, the graph below shows the adjusted MMR with the width of the game, highlighting how close MMR is matched based on your current MMR. Overall, the value is consistent across all but the highest tier of play. where they're seeing the most longer queue times. This is great because it means the matchmaking is working in the competitive aspect for most players. Alright, even though it's consistent with the above 1.5 tiers, it's still bigger than we'd like, and they're going to just try to close their shot group a little there. Alright, so wrapping it up, the bluff of it all looks like decreasing overall LP gains per match. Okay, the overall shift in the rank distribution, so hopefully as you go up, you get less starting LP, right? Or maybe you're starting, what is it? Because everybody starts with 35, and then just as ranked as before, just increase it over time. That way they have to do a little more, put a little bit of kills into play there, and it'll be good. Adding a rule set that only applies to Diamond Plus players to properly dial in the top of the ladder. Makes sense. That's where a lot of that starts to fall off, and they kind of get stuck playing with the low elo folk. Okay, make it a little tougher, as it should be. Players in the ranked tiers will have increased stakes and losses, decreasing ratting bonuses and loss mitigations. Be ready to put it all on the line. Curious to see where that goes. Maybe this time, next season, I'll make another shot at Diamond again, and we'll see what happens. Adding a minimum elimination bonus. Alright, if there's anything I say that I haven't already said, Season 17 in a nutshell is pretty solid. They're pretty close. Their shot groups are like right there. They're getting real on top of it. I think it's a good system. Warrant pros of being in the end game circle and a lot of cons for just trying to get it off rip. However, give more pros in good standing to those who are capable of getting kills and surviving over survivability, right? Last season, right, you really had to get some kills and you really had to survive, but it seemed like you still needed a good amount of kills. This season, you need almost no kills. Shoot, you need no kills. Go right in the middle. And as I told people anytime we talk about ranked, it's anything over 10 kills you shouldn't really gain much for. Like, cool, good for you. You wiped a quarter of the lobby and you made it into the closing circle. You're right. You should progress a lot faster than most, obviously. However, that warrants aping in lobbies. Whereas if you keep that same gig where you have to make it at least top 10, top 8, 4+ kills to 5+ kills will get you about a good, plus 50 to 90, and then making it into that 5 will jump you into the 100. I think we'll get that just right. Alright, increase in action in the ring. The ring adjustment's just gonna have to be... You're just gonna have to see it. I'm just so curious to know how they go about that, because the ring is shenanigans. It's shenanigans all on its own. Alright, updating matchmaking and better hidden players that are actively challenged or MMR. Alright, I think overall, it looks promising. This is the rank aspect of it, which is good. I'm sure, we all like to see ranked adjustment. I'm sure a lot of us are big ranked players. I think overall, it looks pretty good. It could be pretty helpful. I'm going to be curious to know more, depending on when the 21st falls. When is that? That's Friday. I'll probably be at work for that one. However, I'm probably going to go back to make sure to join them on that so I can see what that looks like. However, I encourage you to take a look at it, to take in your own knowledge, especially if you're a big competitive ranked player. Overall, I think it was some good notes. It looks a lot promising for Season 18. And I'm excited to see where that goes. However, this has been the end of the review here. If you liked it, drop a like, subscribe, hit the post notifications bell. If you didn't dislike it, but you somehow made it this far, I have a lot of questions for you. However, thank you. And I hope to see you guys around for more videos on updates and gameplay. Take care.